What's up, guys? Busy show coming up here on Chicago Bears Now. I am back. I've had some videos go out like you guys have seen here on the channel, but I'm back in the office this week, and just want to say thanks for all of the support. Baby PJ and Mom are doing great, so shout out to all you guys who reached out. And busy week and a half coming up, leading up to the NFL Draft, so this is a perfect time to subscribe to Chicago Bears Now. Daily news, rumors, content. Hit that sub button. Big draft rumor later on in the show, but first we'll start with a re-signing. Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. Stay on top of your grooming game with Manscaped. Got to get the old beard hedger out pretty soon to trim this thing up. But get 20% off with code BEARS20 at manscaped.com. It's manscaped.com, code BEARS20. All right, the Bears have re-signed wide receiver Dante Pettis, Courtney Cronin, the Bears themselves. A lot of people tweeted it out. We'll just run with Cronin's tweet here that Pettis is back on a one-year contract. And look, there's a lot of reaction here to this signing. You look at the numbers from last year. Obviously, not the most efficient catch versus target ratio here, less than 50%. But believe it or not, he actually led all receivers in touchdowns with 3. Now, Cole Kmet led the team with 7, but he, of course, is a tight end, 245 yards. So my main reaction to bringing back Dante Pettis in the fold is the Bears know what they have in Dante Pettis, right? Like, he's got some special teams value. He's a wide receiver 4, 5, 6 type, preferably a 5 or 6. And I think depending on what the Bears do in the draft at receiver, he's likely fighting for a roster spot. I think he's got a decent chance to make the roster as a special teams guy back into the roster at wide receiver. But, you think about kind of these depth guys they had last year, Pettis, N'Keal Harry, Byron Pringle. I always thought it was going to make sense to bring one of them back. They brought back Equinemius St. Brown as well. They actually did that late in the season last year with that one-year extension. So now Pettis is back in the fold also, and he'll have a chance to compete for a roster spot here in 2023. Do you like the re-signing of Dante Pettis? I like it. Type Y for yes and for no. Low risk. I wouldn't say big reward, but again, you know what you have here. He knows how to play the position, and he's got special teams value. So Y for yes and for no. Let me know how you guys feel about re-signing Dante Pettis. You look at this wide receiver depth chart. Ideally, again, he's, wide receiver 5, 6. In a perfect world, Velus Jones elevates and becomes that wide receiver 4. I think at this exact moment in time, the Bears probably trust Equinemius St. Brown a little bit more. Obviously, different type of players, as Velus Jones can do more of that gadget stuff. Pettis can do some of that as well at the wide receiver position. I still think adding a guy here in the draft at some point will likely happen, but the Bears do have some depth now. And remember, at times last year, Pettis was like the number 3 at times during the season. This year, that will not be the case. So again, kind of the end of that wide receiver depth chart, fighting for a 53-man roster spot. And I like that he provides insurance. Again, he knows how to play. He knows the offense. Nothing will surprise him in terms of going through the offseason. And remember, Velus Jones, who they drafted to be their return man, both as a kick and a punt returner, had issues muffing punts. So Dante Pettis took over that role for the second half of last season, if not a little bit more. Probably about 10 games, I would say it was. So if Velus doesn't retake that job back, maybe they view Pettis as the punt returner and a back end of the roster guy at wide receiver. So he provides insurance in that regard as well. We'll get to the draft rumor of the day here in just a moment, but shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring today's show. It's tax season. You're running out of time to get your taxes done, so make sure you do. And guess what? Once you get that tax return, take advantage of Manscaped's products, 20% off plus free shipping. Code BEARS20 at manscaped.com. Manscaped is going to clean up your balls downstairs. You got to file paperwork for your taxes. Well, they're filing and cleaning you up downstairs, if you know what I'm saying. I love the Lawnmower 4.0, keeping things nice and trimmed. Hey, your boy just had a baby. You think that happened by accident? No, Manscaped stepped up and delivered. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. You get the wireless charger, the adjustable guards. It's very easy to use. You can use it in the shower. It's waterproof, wireless charging station. I've been a fan of Manscaped's products for a while. I've talked about the beard hedger before as well. I got to get back to that pretty quick. I haven't had much time to shave with the baby at home, but that will get done soon. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. Get 20% off plus free shipping. Go check out all their products. I'm a huge fan of Manscaped. And guess what? Don't be late on your taxes. Don't be late in ordering from Manscaped. Get the 20% off deal right now. Okay. The Pittsburgh Steelers, according to reports, and I know Matthew Peterson, who filled in and did a few videos last week, shout out to him, talked about a different trade rumor between the Bears and Steelers. Well, that continues to gain steam. Peter King and Albert Breer, I believe, have reported that the Steelers are interested in trading up if Jalen Carter is still there at number 9 overall. So that's an interesting side of this because there's been a lot of chatter that the Steelers would trade up for an offensive tackle because they need to add at that position, but apparently they are interested in trading up for the defensive tackle out of Georgia as well. Obviously, there's been a lot of buzz between the Bears and Jalen Carter, but we've talked about Pittsburgh as a potential trade partner before because they sit at the number 17 pick. They've got that number 32 pick from the Bears via the Chase Claypool trade as well. Ryan Poles could look to recoup that pick in a potential trade down. So if Jalen Carter is sitting there at number 9 overall, he could certainly be an option for Pittsburgh. Obviously an option for Chicago too if they end up wanting to trade him. But if Pittsburgh's wants him bad enough, they're going to have to offer a big-time deal. And it was Peter King, by the way, who had this report when it comes to Pittsburgh's interest in trading up. He called it the hot rumor of the week. He says there could not be a more perfect coach for Carter than Mike Tomlin, because that's been a lot of the discussion around Jalen Carter is the talent is there. Is the maturity there? He needs to probably get into a culture where he can fit in right away. That doesn't mean that can't be the Bears, but they're installing their culture here. This is a very young team. Like, the Bears don't have a ton of veteran leadership right now to potentially rein in a guy like Jalen Carter. That doesn't mean I'm not interested. That doesn't mean I wouldn't do it. It just means that maybe with a young coach, young GM, the Bears aren't the perfect fit, although him at that 3-tech spot would certainly be intriguing in Flus's defense. You look at what Pittsburgh has in draft capital. They got 17 and 32. They also have 49. So, maybe you'd try to get 17 and 32, but maybe, you settle for 17 and 49. They've got 80 and 120 as well. Obviously, the 7th-round picks don't really add much in a potential trade with the Steelers. But we've talked about Carter a ton. This is one of the most polarizing draft prospects in recent memory because he is arguably the most talented player in this draft. There was real chatter that if the Bears stayed at number 1, he could be in the mix there. But obviously, they were always a team to trade down. He had his misdemeanor arrest stuff came up. He had a horrible pro day where he was overweight, couldn't complete the workout. But the talent is there, and we know that teams will be interested. It's just a matter of what teams and when will he go. Now, what do you guys think Chicago should do with the number 9 pick? Do you think they should trade the pick or keep the pick and make a selection there? Type T for trade or K for keep, and let me know down in the comments section. Now, this would be my trade proposal. Like, if Pittsburgh comes calling Ryan Poles and I'm Poles and they want that number 9 pick, I'm saying, okay, give me 17 and 32. If Pittsburgh says no and counters with 17 and 49, maybe you take that, but I would also want maybe that 4th-round pick as well. If I'm Chicago, I'm holding Pittsburgh, to a high standard here in terms of a trade because worst case, you take Carter, you take an offensive tackle, you take a talented player at number 9. I'm wanting really good compensation if I am Chicago with that number 9 selection. Now, again, the Carter rumors are heating up. He had that second visit with the Bears back, a week or two ago. There's been increased chatter that the Bears could and possibly would draft Carter at number 9 if he falls there. The Bears have done a ton of homework on him. They were at his pro day. They were at the combine. They brought him in for a top 30 visit to Hallis Hall. We know they're interested. I think they're just weighing the risk versus the reward, again, as they're trying to build this roster with players that they can trust. Can they trust Jalen Carter? It's hard to know how that meeting at Hallis Hall went at this point in time. I know that from a talent standpoint, if you drafted him right now, he would instantly be your most talented defensive lineman. Now, I'm not saying he would be your best right away, but this group needs work. I like the DeMarcus Walker addition. I think Rasheem Green's a good rotation guy. Ideally, he's a backup, but there's no doubt that Carter on paper would be the most talented defensive lineman this team has had since Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks a couple of years ago. So, that's what makes it tough for Ryan Poles and company. What say you? You're Ryan Poles. Would you draft Jalen Carter number 9? Type D for draft or P for pass. It's hard for me to answer that question not having all of the information. That's why they bring these guys in for draft visits and talk to them more and, get research from other sources around Carter as well. We don't have access to that information, at least not at this point in time, so it's hard for me to say. It's very tempting. I don't know if polls will do it, though. What say you, D for draft or P for pass? All right, guys. Again, appreciate all of the support while I was out. Shout out Matthew Peterson for filling in and the other guys here at Chat Sports for helping you guys get the latest videos. If you want more coverage moving forward, hit that subscribe button. We'll be hitting you with videos every single day. And before you know it, the draft will be here. Live show tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central Time. We'll see you then. Bear down.